in other countries. We need to facilitate that in an efficient way, and what I want to see is that what happens in London happens also, or is given an opportunity to happen in New Delhi, in Cape Town, in Sydney, or wherever, so that we can make the journeys shorter for people to take advantage of quality courses and seminars, whether dealing with specific subjects like Public Accounts Committee scrutiny, whether advancing the cause of women parliamentarians, looking at the issues surrounding youth. There are so many things, and we have developed good courses which help on parliamentary procedure and so on. And I just want to multiply those on an even basis throughout all the 9 regions which embrace the CPA. And it will take more than 3 years.
On personal capacity, what is your comment on current situation of Indian polity?
Well, I must be careful. I mustn't be impertinent about what goes on in one of the great democracies. But there's more than one parliament which subscribes to Westminster tradition I've been in, where the situation actually on the floor of the House is quite different from what I have known in the House of Commons. I mean, I realise there is a very tense issue at the moment between the government and the opposition. But I sat in the distinguished strangers gallery yesterday and looked upon the scene and thought, had I been in the chair occupied by your very dignified speaker, what would I have done? What would my powers have been faced with such a demonstration? That would be pretty unusual in the British Parliament. I just hope this matter is resolved, but in a proper way, in a constitutional way. Speaking now in a generic sense, I mean, I believe in Parliament, and I wouldn't want to see the institution of Parliament diminished. Parliament is the place wherein differences must be resolved. That is the inspiration of people. I've seen people rise from the lowest position and have been elected to the House of Commons in London because they have believed that by going to the House of Commons their voice will be heard, and that has encouraged others, that we have done our disputes institutionally and not out on the streets. And I think it's terribly important that all matters of difficulty should be resolved in a parliamentary setting according to a sort of regular order.
Well said. You have interest in cricket. You have written books on cricket.
Yes.
What do you think about cricket team?
Well, the England cricket team has demonstrated in the last few years that it needs considerable application, considerable financial and considerable expertise support in all aspects of training them as athletes to work as a team. And that has had its reward. But to stay at the top, as India found, and as England have now found, is very difficult. But that's what good competition is about. But I have a lot of time for Andrew Strauss, and I also have a lot of time, as I know him personally, Andy Flower, who I regard not only as a capable man, but a very courageous man. And I think they have instilled a team spirit into the England cricket team, which has led to its relative success over the last few years. But we had a difficult winter in the desert, as I describe it, and we're coming to India in October, where I think we are going to be severely tested by your very talented side. In English conditions, we had the upper hand. I suspect over here it may be more difficult. Cricket, I've never been any good at it myself, but it's a game for which I have a passion. I think it's a game which actually does help people to work together. There have been examples where in Jamaica, in the back streets of London, cricket teams have been put together, including very difficult young people, and they've learnt dependency and interdependency.
What do you think about Indian cricket team?
Well, I think what is actually something that pleases me is anywhere you go in India, there's a strip of ground and children are there, they're playing cricket, which alas you would no longer see in England in the way you used to decades ago. And I think the passion and skills of Indian cricket are absolutely tremendous. I worry simply about the balance between the T20 and the longer game. Because for me, the longer game has all those complexities and twists and turns which make it so fascinating. But if we are to keep perhaps families and young people interested in attending, the T20 boost is something which we have to accept. Cricket's varied throughout its 300 or more years history.
Right, true.
So some of the things that are happening today are not that new.
True, that's very true, that's very true. And what do you think about Sachin Tendulkar?
Oh, I think he is a star. I have a great admiration for him. I've not met him. I think his performance speaks for itself. But what appears to be allied with that is his undoubted star qualities coupled with a modesty and decency which makes him an outstanding person. And I know he's revered in India, but he's revered far more widely than that as a man as well as a cricketer.
Why I'm asking about Sachin Tendulkar, because he's now parliamentarian as well. Should he retire from cricket?
Well, I mean, I think many of us have had to wrestle at times in our parliamentary lives with whether it was possible to engage in some outside activity, whether it was as a lawyer or as a cricketer. I think it's probably quite difficult, but the fact of the matter is that so long as he gives joy and pleasure, that as a cricketer, I think he might well be reluctant to give it up. I might say that when English parliamentarians come and play a cricket match against Indian parliamentarians, we're generally worsted because we don't have any test players amongst our members of parliament, whereas you do.
We do have 2-3 test players. Right. It was really nice talking to you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed.
In my next episode, we'll again come back with a special person. Keep watching Lok Sabha television.